Okay. Out of everybody in music, I would say Peter Green is my hero. Not only as an artist, which I believe he's the greatest white blues guitar player ever, and as a person. He had no ego. He didn't want no accolades. He named his band Fleetwood Mac when everyone said, no, it has to be the Peter Green group. We need sales. No, he took the drummer, Mick Fleetwood, and John McVie, combined their name. So they put out their first album, Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. He made them change them all. He didn't want his name nowhere. He didn't want his picture on the album covers. He just wanted to be in a band with some comrades and enjoy playing music. He was Jewish. His name was Greenbaum. And he was bullied. You know, this is his father fought in World War II. And the Jews were pretty much looked down on in England because a lot of them died because of the war. And the war was a lot blamed on the Jews. So Peter Green was very bullied, and he was a very soft person, very calm, and at the age of 15, he was playing bass. He went to see the Yardbirds, right? Now, I'm going to add some British guitar players to this, because at this time, Britain had the best guitarists that you could find. And in the Yardbirds, you had Clapton, followed by Beck, followed by Page. So Clapton left because he thought they were getting too commercial. He wanted to play the blues. He joined John Mayall's Blues Breakers, and he put out the seminal album of the whole British blues boom system, which was it's called the John Mayall Beano album. Why Beano? Because Clapton was reading a comic book called Beano. And it is a killer album. Clapton put together the Gibson Les Paul and a Marshall amp, put it on 10, and invented a new way of playing guitar. To today, if Clapton didn't do that, things would be different. Green thought Clapton was the best. Watched him, followed him. Clapton put out an album with Mayall and left to form Cream. John Mayall was looking for someone to replace Clapton. Now, at that time, Clapton was God. Graffiti all over England, Clapton is God. And now he's playing with Cream. So Peter Green got the job to replace Clapton. And they were afraid that everyone was going to be calling, "Where's Clapton?" And Peter Green had to handle Clapton's songs because Clapton left before the album was put out. So Peter Green had to play Clapton's music. Clapton played fast and loud. Peter Green played soft and mellow. He wanted every note to be heard because he wanted his pain to be felt through his guitar. And there became a big argument in England over fast versus slow. And Peter Green was one who had a specific tone. B.B. King went to England out of gratitude for all these English guitarists playing American black music, because all of a sudden all the American black blues guitarists were popular again. They were going to England and selling out, you know. So Peter Green album, the second John Mayall album, was called The Hard Road. To this day, they're still arguing over which is the better album. You know, if it wasn't for Clapton, there wouldn't have been a Hard Road.
Which one do you like?
A Hard Road kicks Clapton's album's butt. But Clapton got the Les Paul and the Marshall amp. Peter Green got the same Les Paul and the Marshall amp. That made a different sound. But Peter Green had a special tone. It turned out that Peter Green's guitar had a pickup that was reversed. The magnetic polarity on it was reversed, and it gave a different type of tone. B.B. King asked about the guitarist of England, and he was asked who was the best. He said, look, Peter Green is the only one that gives me the cold sweats. He has the best tone I ever heard, and I'm including the blues players in America. Had the boom of British blues. Okay. And it brought out a lot of good guitarists. So there was Savoy Brown Blues Band, there was Chicken Shack, there was Jethro Tull, which had Mick Abrams. You know, there was many great guitarists in England. You know, you had the Stones with Brian Jones and Keith Richards. You know, you had George Harrison. So Hendrix went into England, and it became a competition for who is the best guitarist, which was the worst thing for Peter Green. He didn't even want to be noticed, let alone compared to Clapton or Hendrix. And here he is in the middle of every fight over tone versus speed versus, you know. So Peter Green decided to leave John Mayall's Blues Breakers, and he wanted to go to Chicago, go to America, to the roots. His girlfriend convinced him that if he goes to Chicago, he'll get his ass kicked. You know, so stop dreaming and live with what you have. So he decided to take a few friends that he met in the John Mayall Blues Breakers, which was John McVie and Mick Fleetwood, and form his own band, Fleetwood Mac. Now, he didn't want to play in big places. He even took another guitarist, Jeremy Spencer, who was a hotshot guitarist, and he put him up front with him. Green didn't want the spotlight. He had a three guitar front with three guitarists who all had their own bands. This way he could hide in the back and enjoy playing as a band and have a beer with his mates after the show. But it didn't work out that way. Everyone wanted to hear Green. Jeremy Spencer would play a song, and you'd hear from the crowd, Black Magic Woman, or, you know, whatever song was popular that Green wrote then. So Green became very, very famous in England then. And he had a problem. He had a schizophrenic problem. And he was very quiet, and maybe this is why he didn't want to be in the forefront. But the spotlight followed him everywhere. In 1969, the fourth Fleetwood Mac album, basically, he put everything he had into it. And that's when he had his nervous breakdown. He started jamming with Garcia from the Grateful Dead and Santana. And he was spiked with some LSD from Oswald from the Grateful Dead. And then he started doing LSD with Carlos Santana, who adored him. And the LSD plus his schizophrenia made him a hard person to deal with. Certain days, he was a happy guy. Other days, you couldn't even talk to him. But it brought out the best music in him. One of the lines from a song he wrote, Man of the World, where he says, I never wanted to be anybody else, but sometimes I wish I was never born. He had numerous songs where there were indicators that something was wrong. He wound up leaving Fleetwood Mac for a few reasons, but the basic reason was he didn't think he deserved the accolades or the monetary deserts of playing in a rock and roll band. So he left Fleetwood Mac to pursue Christianity. And shortly after that, his schizophrenia jumped in, and he was in the hospitals for a good 10 years. Now, as soon as he left, and all the people from England found out of his plight, these were all his mates. And there was a double album put out. You bought it for me. It was called Rattlesnake Guitar. It was a double album tribute to Peter Green. They took the songs that Peter Green wrote, and some of the best guitarists in the land put up their time, and the money went to help support black blues artists who couldn't afford their hospital bills, right? So he was never forgotten. So for 10 years, he traveled around. He was a grave digger. He was a butcher. He went to Israel to try and connect with his religious roots. And finally, he realized that he had a need for money. And he was convinced to form a band, the Peter Green Splinter Group. But he said his heart wasn't in it. He can't play the blues like he used to because it hurts too much. So even though he played, people showed up because it was Peter Green. But the music was never here to sing. He didn't want to get hurt anymore.
And did he die? Is he still alive?
He died in 2020. In 2020, just before he died, there was if I could just find it, there was a concert put out. It was a Peter Green tribute concert, which was attended. Everyone who went played for free, bought their plane ticket, and they played all Peter Green songs. Among the people there was Noel Gallagher from Oasis, Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top, David Gilmour from Pink Floyd, Kurt Hammett from Judas Priest, Johnny Lang, John Mayall, Christine McVie, Jeremy Spencer, Peter Townsend, Steve Tyler, Bill Wyman from the Stones, and many more. And there was a movie made. It's out. You know, I got the double album and the movie here. This was just a tribute. Now, I believe the greatest accolades you can get is when your peers appreciate you and what you did. They played all Peter Green music for that night. It was to thank him for his 4 years as leader of Fleetwood Mac.